During the past few weeks, we have all looked on in horror and despair as violence on a massive scale has erupted in the African state of Rwanda. 200,000 people are believed to have died, and up to 2 million have fled their homes. Whatever the causes of this terror, the fact is that it is the ordinary people of Rwanda who are paying the price and who have lost everything they had.
On April 6, 1994, an airplane flying over an airport in Rwanda's capital city of Kigali was shot down. This plane carried Rwanda's ethnic Hutu president, Juvenal Habyarimana. When the plane was shot down, it caused a political spark that started the wildfire of death and destruction we know as the Rwandan Genocide. The Rwandan Genocide was the tragic mass murder of close to 1 million ethnic Tutsis and moderate Hutus. The slaughtering was done by the Hutu people, who were sick of the oppression they received from the Tutsi army, government, and the Tutsi people in years past. After the genocide, however, tensions between these two tribes decreased. With an innovative system of justice, an increased role for women, and a growing economy, the people of Rwanda have reconciled, triumphing over their tragedy. While the genocide occurred in Rwanda, the people of the Hutu and Tutsi tribes live both in Rwanda and in Burundi. The tension started when Rwanda was a Belgian colony. The Belgians favored the Tutsis and allowed them to oppress the Hutus, leading to smoldering tensions when the countries gained independence in 1962. 10 years later, a group of Hutu policemen rebelled, killing 12,000 people who refused to join in the protest in nearby towns. The president, who was a Tutsi at the time, declared martial law, which suspended ordinary laws for a period of time. The angered Tutsis revolted against the Hutus. As a result, over 250,000 Hutus were killed, 5% of the population. Tension continued to build. Then, in 1993, the Hutus won the Burundi presidential election. As a result, Hutu Melchior Ndadaye became president. Mr. Ndadaye, however, was assassinated. This sparked the killing of 25,000 Tutsis. The Tutsis then returned the Hutu fire, killing 50,000 Hutus, double the amount of Tutsis murdered by Hutus. This smaller genocide was the ignition for the fuel that had been spread throughout the years and started the tragedy, the Rwandan Genocide. The slaughtering started in April 1994. It was done mainly by a group called the Interahamwe, Rwanda's paramilitary comprised of Hutu civilians and led by the Hutu government. The Interahamwe had over 100,000 militants fighting for them during the time of the genocide. Hutu politicians even participated in the genocide, hoping to get Hutu votes in the next election. These politicians used their bully pulpit to get people to fight. Some even supplied the Hutu militia with weapons. A huge propaganda tool that the politicians used was the radio. The soldiers would listen to a radio station called RTLM. The politicians, who wanted Tutsis eliminated, would incite the Hutus to violence using the radio.
Le Rwanda appartient à ceux qui le défendent vraiment. Et vous, les Nyingi, vous n'êtes pas des Rwandais.
The radio would even give the names and addresses of known Tutsis. The Hutus would listen to their radios and go to the addresses to kill the Tutsis. The paramilitary used mostly machetes, but they killed in other horrible ways. In one instance, 2 Tutsi twins were chained together and buried alive. On rare occasions, Tutsis were skinned alive. The rape of Tutsi women was extremely common. In fact, the Interahamwe would rape women in public, then after they were tired of them, they would resell them. Many rape survivors cannot remember the number of times they were raped and now have HIV. The Interahamwe, however, wasn't the only organized group of killers. The National Police and Rwandan soldiers participated in the genocide. They even allowed, encouraged, and commanded others to slaughter the Tutsis, and provided the Hutu civilians with arms and ammunition, although most killings were done with a machete because it was a widely accessible and versatile tool. While most Tutsis were murdered in cold blood, there was Tutsi resistance. The name of this resistance is the Rwandan Patriotic Front, or the RPF. This group, also known as the Tutsi rebels, overtook the Interahamwe, which was led by the Hutu government, ending the genocide.
I lost my mother, my father, my 7 brothers and sisters.
After 100 days of killing, the Rwandan genocide's death toll is estimated to be around 1 million people, one of the fastest yet most devastating genocides in history. Despite this tragedy, Rwanda has quickly reconciled and triumphed over their genocide. More than 1,400,000 Hutu perpetrators were convicted, but this wasn't accomplished using the regular court systems. Rwanda converted back to its old Gacaca court system. Gacaca courts, or grass courts, are small courts held in Rwandan towns.
Gacaca are the local courts whereby they brought the people who had committed genocide and bring them out in the village, so that those who accuse them are able to accuse them.
It runs like a regular court. The only difference is that it is in almost every town rather than just the large cities. This allowed the perpetrators and victims to come face to face, and local people to testify as witnesses. It also gave perpetrators the chance to make a genuine, heartfelt confession. Many people in Rwanda have forgiven their families' murderers. The Gacaca courts helped bring a quick and accurate justice to Rwanda. The Gacaca courts were efficient, allowing trials that would have taken 100 years in regular courts to be completed in 10 years. But more importantly, the Gacaca courts brought justice and reconciliation to the towns and overall to the country of Rwanda. The people of Rwanda have realized how important it is to reconcile, and everyone is doing their part. The government is also taking big steps to reform the economy and is creating programs in order to make sure that something like the genocide doesn't reoccur.
The government of Rwanda has been working hard to create economic opportunities with the idea that people have enough food, people are busy with their activities.
Rwanda's parliament has also given women more control in the government. Rwanda was the first country to have a government with a female majority, over 75%. Before the genocide, women were oppressed. Having women in parliament post-genocide helped meet the needs of Rwandan women, especially the women who had suffered wounds and HIV. Another way women are reforming Rwanda is through small, daily jobs, one of which is basket weaving.
There were widows, there were survivors of the genocide, other women, their husbands were in jail and left as single moms. They had a common need of trying to provide for their families or provide for themselves. So they had to come together. In the process of basket weaving, as the days went by, they all started talking about their problems. They started talking about their experiences before and after the genocide. As they went along, each group started opening up to each other.
In 2004, Joanna Dunkstay started a company called Gahana Links, which allowed the women of Rwanda to sell their baskets to high-paying stores in the United States. The money that the women of Rwanda make off their hand-woven baskets allows them to support their families, creating economic growth. Despite the tragic mass murder of 1 million citizens, Rwanda has experienced a triumphant reconciliation. Decades-old animosities between the Hutus and Tutsis have been resolved through the Gacaca courts and the advancement of women, both in government and in business. The tragic wildfire of the Rwandan genocide has refreshed the soil of reconciliation, making way for trees of triumph.